Thanks, Sophie. You're watching South East Today. Our top story tonight. Mass disruption at Gatwick after the South Terminal was evacuated today, leaving thousands unable to travel. We'll have the latest on those delays in and around the airport. The Sussex leaseholders who say they've been left in despair because of what they call rip-off service charges.
I've got to find that money every year and it's coming out of what's left of my life savings.
The road ahead, we check out driverless vehicles operating for the first time in Kent. And a dynamite guest. We meet gladiator Emily Steele as she prepares to do battle in Hastings in Panto. Hello, welcome to the programme. I'm Ellie Crisell. We begin tonight with the thousands of passengers who faced delays at Gatwick today after that security alert caused the airport's South Terminal to be evacuated. People were unable to check in for several hours as police deployed its bomb disposal unit after the discovery of a suspected prohibited item in some luggage. The terminal has now reopened, but delays are ongoing as those schedules catch up. In a moment, we'll have the latest live from Gatwick. First, though, Piers Hopkirk reports on a day of disruption.
This was the scene as thousands of passengers poured out of Gatwick South Terminal, their travel plans in chaos.
I was waiting on the platform for the train, and the one train left, and I was waiting for the next one, and the announcement came, and that was 3 hours ago.
So I was expecting some issue with the snow, not with some security alert, but that's the game.
There's been no announcement since I've been here, and I've been here for 2 hours. And now the phones are not working because everyone's trying to phone.
The evacuation was prompted by a major security alert. Bomb disposal teams brought in following the discovery of a suspected prohibited item in luggage.
Whatever it was that security staff discovered was clearly of such magnitude, of such concern, that the Sussex police took the decision to close down one of Britain's busiest airport terminals and, as a result of that, disrupt the journey of thousands of passengers.
It left large crowds standing outside unsure of where they'd be going next. Student Megan Plenderleith was due to fly to New York.
They had us all out within like 2 minutes. They were very fast and very organised. They initially told us it was very calm, and they told us, we just need to move people out of the top area. And then once we had moved out of the upper areas of Gatwick, we were then told they were doing a full evacuation.
Every passenger had a story. John Williams and his son Reese were meant to be heading to the States for Reese's 21st.
Yeah, it's going to be a big birthday treat. We've planned for a long time, so kind of touch and go at the moment.
Annoyed. Obviously, no one wants to be delayed for anything, so being delayed because they found a package or whatever, it's just irritating.
With trains not stopping at Gatwick Station, onward travel was a major challenge, many choosing to walk to Hawley instead. John Mather had just come back from Costa Rica.
Well, it's absolutely hopeless, isn't it? I mean, I'm stuck here. Croydon's only 20 minutes down the line on the train, but it looks like it's going to take me hours to get back.
The closure caused disruption on surrounding roads too, with approaches to the airport shut off. On a day of travel chaos, the only reliable form of transport for many was on foot. Piers Hopkirk, BBC South East Today.
Well, Nick Johnson is outside Gatwick for us this evening. Hello, Nick. What more do we know about this security incident?
Well, Sussex police have confirmed, as Piers mentioned, that its explosive disposal team was involved in this operation. We don't know anything about what it was that they found, but we know that that team were involved in making that package safe. We also know Sussex Police has said that 2 people who were initially detained at the time have subsequently been allowed to continue with their journeys. But those delays at the airport mentioned are persisting. Just looking at the departure board, the 6:45 to Zurich cancelled, the 7:40 to Valencia cancelled, and others as well. Now, Sussex Police say they will have an increased presence in the area over the next few hours, largely to help people get back into the South Terminal and continue on with their journeys. Ellie.
Nick, thank you very much. Let's go over now to Three Bridges Station. Chrissy Reedy is there for us this evening. Hello, Chrissy. Train services were actually suspended going in and out of Gatwick earlier, weren't they? What's the situation now?
Yeah, it has had a huge knock-on effect on rail services, Ellie. Here at Three Bridges, this is one of the main key rail routes up to Gatwick Airport. But of course, this incident has meant there has been no trains stopping at Gatwick at all from around 10:30 this morning. Train services direct to Gatwick resumed just after 3 o'clock, so it has caused major disruption for many, many people today.
Chrissy, thank you. Next, the Sussex leaseholders who say they're in despair because of what they call rip-off service charges, which have left them owing thousands of pounds a year. A BBC investigation has found them to be among a group of residents who've been overcharged by more than £1 million in 5 years by one company. And despite several damning verdicts from judges, leaseholders say that the company continues to overcharge. Tara Welsh reports from Worthing.
James says getting the keys to his new flat was a dream. But quite quickly things changed when his service charges went up.
Me and Charlotte, my partner, both panicked because we literally didn't have the money. So my heart was racing and, just didn't know what to do. Thought we can't live here anymore. We've only just bought this place a year ago and we can't afford to live here suddenly. It felt unfair.
In 2019, the freehold to his property was sold at auction, which means the building and the land beneath it became the responsibility of a new owner. Within 4 years, the service charges had gone up by 320%.
This is mine and Charlotte's flat, the entrance. This is Sue's flat here, and this is the communal area that I think we paid £500 to be cleaned. As you can see, it hasn't actually been cleaned either. And if you want to come and have a look at this box, was installed recently, a fireproof box. There you go, the door doesn't even shut. That was £500. And somebody came to test this light switch here. I think that was another couple of £100 as well. You've got the fire alarm control switch. Every time that gets tested, that's about £300, I think. Key cutting was £700 to have one key cut. For the communal door. We charged £300 for them being cleaned, but as you can see, they haven't been cleaned.
Sue lives downstairs. In 2019, she was paying £750 a year in service charges. By 2023, it was more than £3,000. Sue says the financial stress was too much to bear.
I get really upset about it, and sometimes I can't get out of bed. It had an awful impact on me because I've got to find that money every year and it's coming out of what's left of my life savings.
In a statement, Asset Hold said it's concerned to hear that residents have reported emotional and financial stress. But the company is frequently involved in service charge disputes that end up before judges. Paying a service charge is a condition of a lease. Her freeholder said the increase in cost reflects inflationary pressures in the property sector. Now, Sue and James have been to court for the right to buy their freehold. It's been a long journey, but pending appeals, they'll soon have control over their building and what they spend on it. Tara Welsh, BBC South East Today.
Well, Claire Starr is with me in the studio. Hello, Claire. The leasehold system is due to be overhauled by the government, isn't it?
It is, yes. The government plan to make what's called common hold, the default, by the next election. And that's where people own their own homes without an expiring lease. By the second half of next year, the government says it will also outline how it will ban new leaseholds. That'll be after a consultation, though. They also want more leaseholders to be able to take over the management from their freeholders and to no longer pay costs if they make a claim against those freeholders. But campaigners warn that all of this may come too late for many. The National Leasehold Campaign says its main concern now is the fate of existing leaseholders currently suffering under what they call unregulated managing agents and unscrupulous freeholders.
Claire, thank you. And a reminder that the documentary The Leasehold Trap is available to watch on iPlayer now. A man who chased 3 men who'd sold him popcorn instead of cannabis in a high-speed car pursuit in which they crashed and died has been jailed for 18 years. 39-year-old Robbie Cook was in his Range Rover when he followed the men in their Citroën through residential streets in Eastbourne last year. He pleaded guilty to causing the deaths by dangerous driving of Daniel Davies, Johnny Day and John Tommy Miller, who crashed into a tree at more than 50 miles an hour. Cook also admitted to perverting the course of justice by later destroying his phone. The Prime Minister says he's determined that British border checks in Calais will continue. A coalition of French mayors have called for an end to a deal that allows for UK immigration checks to be carried out before they cross the Channel. But Sir Keir Starmer told BBC Radio Kent he'd be taking that up with the French authorities. He also reiterated his commitment to tackling the illegal gangs behind small boat crossings.
We need to break the gangs that are running. Well, before I was a politician, I was the chief prosecutor, prosecuting cases across the country, including in Kent. And we took down gangs that were involved in terrorism, running guns and drugs. And I do not accept that the only gangs that apparently can't be broken are these gangs.
A couple from Canterbury have been speaking about the moment their trip to Iceland suddenly took a terrifying turn when a volcano erupted nearby. Louise and Matthew Jones-Roberts were enjoying the final night of a 4-day break when molten lava headed in their direction. They grabbed their belongings and fled to the airport, as Fiona Irving reports.
A terrifying drive, fleeing the molten lava, heading their way.
Keep going this way to the airport.
Airport, thank you! On Wednesday evening, as Louise and Matthew Jones-Roberts were told to evacuate, they left their hotel with no idea of what they were facing.
It's pitch black except for these plumes of lava coming up that were massive. And you don't know which direction it's going. You're just sort of hoping that you're going away from it. And when you're first seeing that, it's almost indescribable because it is magnificent, but also quite terrifying.
It's the 7th time the fissure in southern Iceland has erupted this year, but there was little warning. The couple from Canterbury had to move quickly.
Self-preservation kicks in, where you think, right, we've just got to get out, we've just got to be calm and we just have to leave. When I first realised how serious it was when I went outside, I heard the sirens, I actually left a voice note for the kids, because I thought, do you know what, just in case this is something we do have issues getting out, I just want to have done that first.
What did you say to the kids?
Just, we're caught up in something, there's a volcano, I love you, we're going to try and get out, we'll be in contact soon.
So you were afraid for your lives?
There were, yeah, not for long, but there was definitely a period of time where because you just don't know. It's completely a new thing, like it's an experience that we'd never been through before.
They were on holiday to see the Northern Lights. They didn't catch a glimpse of them, but they got more than they bargained for.
It's just phenomenal. It's something that I don't think we expected to see. It's something that I don't know if I'll ever see again, but it was raw, it was nature, it was brilliant once we were safe.
This was a holiday they'll remember for a lifetime. Fiona Irving, BBC South East Today, near Canterbury.
Terrifying stuff. Now it's just after 6:45. A reminder of our top story tonight. Thousands of passengers have faced delays at Gatwick today after a security alert caused the airport's south terminal to be evacuated. People were unable to check in for several hours as police deployed its bomb disposal unit after the discovery of a suspected prohibited item in luggage. also in tonight's programme. A dynamite guest. We meet gladiator Ellie Crisell as she prepares to do battle in Hastings in Panto.
And after a couple of very cold and bright days, Stormbird will bring something completely different this week. Possibly some disruption with some very strong winds. I've got the details in the forecast later in the programme.
Next, a glimpse into the future in what's been described as a first for Kent. A vehicle with no steering wheel went on show in Kent today. We're talking, of course, about self-driving cars, which could be on UK roads as early as next year. Charlie Rose has been for a ride as manufacturers brought one to Margate.
Is this a vision of Margate's future? Local people hopping aboard a self-driving electric shuttle.
For me, it's a miracle.
Tell me why.
Because it's something, how I say, something new for me, for my life.
It's the first time I've been in a vehicle that's on the road and nobody's driving it.
Will it be the last?
No, not at all.
I think it's absolutely amazing. You can't believe it, can you? That this is going to happen now, you know, the new way.
You'd like to see it in Margate?
I would. I think it's wonderful.
Already, these shuttles have been piloted successfully in South Korea, Australia, China and New Zealand.
I would love to see a shuttle like this running in Margate, and hopefully within the year. And so long as they can prove the safety case in Milton Keynes and in Birmingham, then why not Margate?
Well, I have to admit, it is quite exciting, quite novel being on this electric driverless bus, but we all know that even the most sophisticated technology can fail. So what happens when basically the computer says no?
The vehicle is fully equipped with LiDARs, detectors and sensors. And in addition to that, when we move to the safety driver being off the vehicle, we'll have an oversight from a control room. We'll be able to talk back to the people on board, passengers on board. Safety is paramount, and we start slow speeds and we gradually speed up.
And there's a belief the shuttles could actually improve road safety. But for others, the jury's out.
We need to prove whether computers can genuinely drive better than humans. We know humans make lots of mistakes. We know lots of collisions are caused by drunk driving, by tiredness, distraction. Computers might be able to help us with that. We need to prove that that's the case.
People love their local friendly bus driver, don't they? And these shuttles won't have a driver.
Eventually they won't, so at the moment they do have a safety driver, but that's due to regulation. So we hope that this will be part of an integrated transport solution in the future. So there's definitely still a place for bus drivers, definitely still a place for taxi drivers, but this just complements their work and picks up some of those shorter journeys that are quite difficult for them to make.
And with a joystick for a steering wheel and no seat for a driver, it's going to take some getting used to. But one day, this shuttle might be back in Thanet for good. Charlie Rose, BBC South East Today, Margate.
Now, have you ever wondered what it takes to be a gladiator? Our next guest, Ellie Crisell, aka Dynamite, can answer that for us. She's back on our screen soon in a new series of the hit TV show. But first, she'll bring her star power to the role of Wendy in her Panto debut in Hastings. More on that in a moment. First, let's see Emily in action.
Contenders beware, this all-rounder possesses the perfect mix of strength and speed. Gladiators, ready! 3, 2, 1! Dynamite's game is all about defending. She's not going to let Nia pass. How about Betty? She's struggling a bit, and Dynamite has a hold and will bring her away. Trying to land blows of her own, but it's proving impossible. And Dynamite is really on the attack now. Mary Louise is down. That's one back for the Glads.
I love it. Well, Dynamite, aka Ellie Crisell, joins me now. Welcome, Emily. So
hi.
nice to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
You're far too young to remember Gladiators first time around, aren't you?
Yes, I had
far too young.
No clue what it was.
But it's had this amazing comeback. What's it been like to be part of that?
It's been amazing. It's honestly been a life-changing experience. I've made so many close friends for life. I've been able to inspire the younger generation in ways that I didn't even plan to. And I've just been introduced into this whole new world where I get to do so many different things.
And they approached you, didn't they, through social media? You were finishing your degree.
Yeah.
And said, do you want to come and audition? And you just ignored it. You thought it was a joke.
Yeah, because I didn't know what the show was, I thought, why am I getting these really weird messages? But then I got a phone call and they were like, this is real. So I thought, I'll go to the audition, see what it's like. We did some fitness tests and they were really suited to my kind of skill set in CrossFit and strength training. Had a little chatty interview and here we are.
And second series coming up for you as well. But before that, panto.
Yeah.
This is your first panto.
It is.
Tell me about it.
I mean, it was not on the agenda at all, I'll say that. I did a bit of acting when I was younger, a bit of performing arts. So I'm hoping I'll be okay. I'm just really excited to try something new.
Of course.
I think it'll be really fun.
And it's Peter Pan in Hastings. Do you get to be suspended on the wires?
Yeah,
we get
to fly.
Yay!
I can't wait. I can't wait. I've trained for so many different things in life and this is one of the most exciting.
So many firsts.
Yeah,
indeed. Yeah. And how do you feel about being a role model for young women or girls who want to lift weights? I mean, we were saying before we came on air, you still feel a bit intimidated going to the weights section of the gym. I know I do, and there are probably lots of other young women out there who do. What would you say to them?
The gym is a really scary place, but it's just kind of coming to terms with the fact that you need to be confident in yourself and you're there for the same reason everyone else is there. You need to just walk in with your head held high, go in knowing exactly what you're doing, feel the confidence, and honestly, like, I've had to come to terms with it too. Not everyone is really staring at you. Everyone is kind of getting on with their own lives in the gym, looking at their phone, doing different exercises. It's just that initial walk in, it's a bit terrifying. But I've always wanted to inspire the younger generation through sport anyway. I have two younger sisters, so it's nice. I've always wanted to set a good example, but being thrown into Gladiators and being able to do it on a global scale is just amazing.
It's incredible. And when does the panto start?
We start shows on the 13th of December. Yeah.
Best of luck. Break a leg.
Thanks.
Not literally. Thank you so much for coming to talk to us, Emily.
No worries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, staying with sport, all teams are in action after the international break this weekend. The Seagulls go to Bournemouth, Crawley Town host Rotherham in League One football, and Gillingham welcome Harrogate Town in League Two. In the Women's League Cup, Brighton and Hove Albion take on Leicester City on Sunday. Meanwhile, Fabian Herzler is relishing the return to Premier League action.
Now it's very important that all the players come back in a good mood, come back in a good shape, and remember quickly what is our identity, what is our culture, because I think they experience different philosophies, different things, and now it's very important that we immediately stick back to our principles, to our identity, and how we want to play.
Now, remember yesterday? Doesn't seem so very far away, does it? I reported on a George Harrison guitar that sold at auction for over £1 million. And we told you about a mysterious competition winner, an AJ Thompson from Saltdean, who won said guitar in 1964, but he turned it down for a modest cash prize instead, never knowing what he was missing out on. Well, AJ Thompson, Tony, he got in touch with me after yesterday's programme and he said he was watching South East Today, he heard his name and he wanted to tell us his side of the story. Jadzia Samuel went to meet him today.
When we think of the Beatles, we might picture screaming crowds of adoring fans. But back in October 1964, when Beat magazine held a competition to win George Harrison's guitar, they were only in the early stages of fame. Yesterday, BBC South East reported that this same guitar has now been auctioned for more than £1 million. And watching that report was none other than the competition winner himself.
I think I was quite surprised when it was offered to me in the competition. I was told it was a beat-up old bass guitar and probably not worth much, and they offered me a sum of money, and I took that instead and bought a new guitar.
You bought a new guitar with the money?
Yeah.
How much did they give you?
£35.
And 60 years later, it's worth more than £1 million. So, does Tony regret his decision?
I've always wondered, I suppose, over the last 60-odd years as to what would have happened if I'd have kept the guitar, whether it would have been worth anything.
How do you think your life would have changed if...
I don't really think it would have changed at all. I'd set my heart on civil engineering, and that was what I did until the day I retired.
Well, it's nice to see he's not too strung up on yesterday. Jadzia Samuel, BBC South East Today.
Thank you for getting in touch, Tony. Time for a look at the weather. Nina is with us. It's been so cold all week, I've been very grumpy.
Yes.
But we're going out of the frying pan into the fire.
Exactly. It's been cold, sunny, but quite calm. We've had clear skies as well. Some sunshine to be enjoyed. Not a great deal of that this weekend. All change as Storm Bert barrels towards us. We have got a Met Office yellow warning. The strong winds will be the main feature of this storm. So a yellow warning from the Met Office runs from 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon all the way through Sunday. The strongest of the winds will be along the coast, but even inland we'll have some very strong winds. So there is the possibility of some disruption. Here's our area of low pressure, not just the strong winds, but also some rain. The rain will tend to come and go. I think the wettest of the weather probably later on Sunday, but it's dry out there at the moment and it's clear, so turning pretty cold, and we will see temperatures dipping for a time below freezing, probably around about midnight, and then they'll start to pick up by a few degrees. That's as the breeze strengthens, the cloud increases, and we'll see some of this patchy, fairly fragmented area of rain moving its way in. Continues with us through the day on Saturday, overcast skies. These are our wind gusts, so you can see even inland areas through Saturday afternoon gusting to around about 40 to 50 miles an hour. And the temperatures a big change at around about 10 to 13 degrees. The rain continues to just come and go through Saturday night and in towards Sunday morning. At times it might be quite heavy, and those strong winds will also persist overnight. If anything, they start to strengthen even further. We're getting higher than 50 mile an hour gusts as we start Sunday morning, but again very mild. Those temperatures 10 to 11 degrees. On Sunday, the main focus of the rain looks as though it will potentially stay to the northwest of us. So during the day, many places dry, possibly even a little bit of brightness across the southeast coast. But those strong winds are still with us, as I mentioned, coastal gales, and we'll also see those winds pretty strong inland areas. That area of rain is going to move through then through Sunday night. We'll see that band of quite heavy rain clearing its way south. Still low pressure close by through the day on Monday. So it's a blustery day before things start to turn a little chillier through much of next week, Ellie.
Hunker down for the weekend, isn't it? Thank you very much, Nina. Well, that is it from me and from Nina and from everyone. Piers Hopcock, though, will be back at 10:30. Bye-bye.